Cricket presents the Campfire. Today, we're analyzing District 4-6A. Teams in this district include Trinity, LD Bell, Keller, Keller Central, Timber Creek, Justin Northwest, Eaton, Byron Nelson, and Southlake Carroll. Let's begin by taking a look at this district in our film session. The Dragons for Southlake Carroll swept through 4-6A a year ago and parlayed that into a state championship appearance. Unfortunately for the district, they bring a ton of experience back. District's MVP, quarterback Angelo Renda, is back. So is the offensive MVP and receiver Brock Boyd. Oh, and don't forget about the defense. As 4-6A's defensive MVP, William Chen, returns as well. Not to mention a loaded offensive line. Division I running back Davis Penn and linebackers Robbie Ladd and Zach Hayes all join in for the Dragons. So Southlake will be a serious favorite again this fall. Byron Nelson finished second last year, and they've got a couple first-teamers back in wide receiver Parker Almanza and cornerback Mohamedou Silby. Trinity went 3 rounds deep a year ago and will have their usual beefy offensive line led by SMU commit Toa Katoa, who should open up holes for speedy JT Harris. Justin Northwest made the postseason last year on a tiebreaker. Defensively, they'll look to big nose tackle Prince Nagum. Keller missed out on that tiebreaker, but will hope to return to the playoffs with linebacker Matthew Reagan leading the way. Eaton has one of the best edge rushers in the district in Elijah Lash, who has multiple offers, and they returned Chris Duarte as running back, who missed almost the entire season a year ago. Timber Creek's Landon Hicks and Ty Goins will be the experience returning on the Falcons' defense. LD Bell and Keller Central had a combined 1 district win in 2024. Hey, they'll look for some athletes to step up this fall.
The Campfire is presented by Cricket. Smile, you're on Cricket.
We love easy. 4! Yeah!
Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Would you like to help a veteran? Log on to parkerperformanceinstitute.com to learn more about the Invicta Project. The Campfire is brought to you by Kubota, the #1 selling compact tractor in Texas. For details, visit gokubota.com. Kubota, because you can.
For an even deeper look at 4-6A, here's producer Ward Fasold and insider Matt Diggs with the district breakdown.
All right, we're in 4-6A, Diggs, and I'll tell you what, if you look back at the all-district team from last year, there's more Dragons in this tip than there was in Game of Thrones, the way it was going. Offensive, defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, player of the year, coach of the year, all this stuff. And I can't see him not sweeping this year. Talk to me about how good this team is going to be.
Yeah, when I was doing my rankings this last month, Ward, and trying to figure out the spring rankings, I was really struggling because when I was thinking about Southlake, Duncanville, and North Crowley, I really feel like Southlake Carroll has one of the best chances of all of the teams in the area to win a state championship. But they're in that very weird predicament where they could go D1 or D2 based on how the other teams in the district go. North Crowley has the same problem, so there's just really not a guarantee of where they're going to go or what their playoff road is going to be. So that kind of gave me a little bit of pause. But what they are returning back, D1, D2, I don't know if it matters. It looks absolutely incredible. Their whole offense is returning, Ward. Angelo Renda last year had a sensational sophomore campaign, 3,900 yards passing, 670 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, Ward, 14 touchdowns rushing. This guy did it all and came out of nowhere as a sophomore to do it.
All right, run through 1 through 9 real quick.
Southlake Carroll, #1. Euless Trinity, #2. Byron Nelson, #3. I got Keller, #4. Justin Northwest made the playoffs last year. I've got them at #5. Northwest Eaton at 6. Keller Timber Creek at 7. LD Bell at 8. And Keller Central at 9.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now, let's take a look at some game changers in our Players on the Rise, presented by Parker University. The district's MVP last year was Southlake Carroll quarterback Angelo Renda. With injuries to both starting running backs, Renda carried much of the offensive load, and boy did he deliver. As a junior, he threw for just under 4,000 yards and 40 touchdowns while completing 72% of his passes. On the ground, he ran for 667 yards and 14 more scores. All eyes will be on him again as a senior this year, and Angelo hopes to lead the Dragons back to the state title game before heading to Pitt for his college ball. That blur you see running down the football field is J.T. Harris of Euless Trinity. Track star runs a 4.39 40, and that speed translates well to the gridiron. Harris ran for over 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns for an eye-popping average of 12.64 yards a carry. JT also ran 3 kicks back for scores. That was until opponents realized they needed to stop kicking to him. Harris has offers from Texas State, Boise State, and Baylor, among others. The Southlake Carroll air attack often runs through wide receiver Brock Boyd. As a junior, Boyd caught 111 passes for over 1,800 yards and 19 touchdowns. In case you missed that, I said 111 pass receptions in 1 year. So Brock isn't dropping too many balls, that's for sure. In the state final, Boyd had 13 catches for 178 yards, so big stages don't bother him at all. Well, which is good because he'll be heading to Ohio State to play college football. At Northwest Eaton, Elijah Lash was a unanimous first-teamer at defensive end. Flying off the edge, Lash used his speed and power to record 53 tackles and 4 sacks as a junior, while forcing 3 fumbles. For his high school career, Elijah has 10 sacks and is looking to add to that number as a senior. Lash has offers from San Diego State, Tulsa, and New Mexico State, among others.
Switch to Cricket and get nationwide 5G, so you can post that epic ooh. If you switch, you also get a free phone, which you need. Welcome to getting more. Welcome to Cricket Nation. Smile, you're on Cricket.
75 years of made-to-order goodness. That's Whataburger. Goodness 24/7. The Campfire is brought to you by Kubota, the #1 selling compact tractor in Texas. For details, visit gokubota.com. Kubota, because you can.
Our Ward Fasold caught up to Southlake Carroll head coach Riley Dodge to talk about his Dragons in our Media Day segment.
All right, we are talking 4-6A with Southlake Carroll head coach Riley Dodds. Coach, you got the 16 games in last year, which is every coach's dream. Obviously, there's a little bit more to the dream that you would have liked at the end there, but you got the 16 games in, and you have a quality group of guys coming back. What did you learn from your team last year that you think you can push for this year, and especially in this district, which is you get, 2 non-district games, and then you're right at it?
Yeah, I think, after last year, and I think throughout the year, as we got later and later through the playoffs, we really had a resilient group. We had a mentally tough football team, young football team that was trying to figure it out each and every week. And, we talked about the office the other day, just continue to get better throughout the playoffs, and kind of found our identity. And we had to have guys step up in the field house. We had some injuries that were unfortunate in our running back room and throughout, different position rooms in our field house. And we had guys that, names weren't necessarily called upon early in the season, that their names were called upon in big-time moments in the playoffs, and they stepped up. Christian Glenn comes to mind. That was a senior last year that filled in, that played running back. And, it was a young group that, didn't really make excuses, just kept finding a way to win tough football games. So I think, going this, this offseason and going in the summertime, we got a veteran football team, and we have a lot of guys that played in some big-time moments. We're excited about the experience that we have in our field house.
Well, we're looking forward to you seeing down the line. I appreciate you joining with me, Coach. And like I said, August is right around the corner. I'm
excited, man.
You can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. Hey, that'll do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we take a deep dive into 5-6A. Until then, have a great week, everybody.